got last week's.
Oh yes.
You got last week's episode intro.
Yes.
Okay.
Now in last week's episode, no problem.
Nothing. So
this
we
is-
are 1 day in recording
Yeah.
without any complications.
No complications. You starting it too.
Knock on wood.
I know.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour, coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, aiming to be Whittier's #1 podcast for all things nerdy. I'll be your host today, Bryan, Rene, and Solid.
Yes.
That's 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Yes. I think we're getting the hang of it.
I think we are.
I think
it took like 4 episodes.
Episode 4. Just keep knocking on wood that's how it
know.
stays and nothing bad happens. Renee, how have you been, man?
I've been, you know what? I keep saying I'm good, but I don't want to admit to it. Like,
it's been a weird look. Let's start with this.
Yeah.
Let's start with this. 2020 has been the biggest headache, I think, in a really long time.
yeah, and it's not just the pandemic either. It's just that's the start of it, honestly. But it's just been, I don't know, it's been so weird. Things are happening around me, or things are happening to people.
There's
I don't
been
know what's going on.
a lot of personal stuff
Yes.
between you and I.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll be honest. I'm thankful that you and I managed to get this project off the ground and that we're doing this pretty much every week.
I think this is the whole thing that's keeping me going.
Yes.
Because you and I love the way you and I talk.
Yep.
And I don't know why we haven't done this sooner.
I think, okay, so there wasn't an inspiration before. I think
Yeah.
that we've had the ideas, but we just didn't have a motivating push to do it.
Yeah.
And I think with everything that's been going on, worldwide and personal,
Yeah.
I think we needed something to work on to make ourselves feel positive. That's the way I see it, at least.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing this with you and I have my own projects as well.
Which commends to you, man.
Yeah,
you're doing more. You're doing so many things behind your belt.
People ask me, I'm like, Bryan, how often, how much do you sleep? And I'm like, 3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4, like that, man.
Yeah, and people are like, how do you function? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I mean, that was my college years.
Yeah.
College for me was sleeping 2 to 3 hours every day for 5 days. And that was perfectly fine. I would be awake on caffeine pretty much the whole week. But now I'm getting 3 to 4 average. And that's just because I have, I don't want to say I have insomnia, because I think that individuals that do have insomnia and suffer from, sleep deprivation, that's a serious issue.
Yeah, you can't say that.
Yeah, I don't want to self-diagnose, but I do sleep about an average of maybe 3 to 4 hours, constantly working on this and, my work stuff and my own projects and stuff. And it's just been a headache, but I like doing this. I think that this is what, like you said, it keeps us going.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. Personally, it's just been one of those years where on the personal level, things come left and right nonstop. You think that one week you're going to be fine, it's going to be normal, but you get hit with something else. Just today, I went to the ER just because I needed to go get checked out, because at my other job, or at my job, I essentially had chest pains and they were concerned. So they're like, hey, go to the ER.
Yeah.
Cool, okay. I didn't think that it was a heart condition or anything. Thankfully not.
Yes.
Thankfully not.
Yes. You wouldn't be here.
Exactly. I'd be like, Renee, I cannot record today. But they pretty much, did x-rays and stuff, and they just assumed that it was, probably a muscle strain from working out, because I'm trying to get back into the active life. But thankfully it wasn't that. So personal stuff, just a bunch of stuff has been going on. I didn't expect to do this today.
Yeah.
And then on, an interest level, every week it's always something new. It's just nonstop.
Yeah.
Nothing has been consecutive.
That's the
in
thing.
Announcement stuff.
It's just we've, to be honest with the listeners that are listening to this, we are literally just trying to find stuff every week.
Yeah.
And sometimes it happens either right after we record an episode, or literally right before we do as well too. Stuff happens, and it's always, nothing really happens in the middle of the week. And then this week in particular, we kind of had to struggle.
We did.
To kind of, with managing with stuff that's happening, but then also trying to find stuff as well for, keep this show going, because we want to keep the show going.
Yeah.
We want to make this something.
Yeah. This isn't to say that nothing has been coming out, because there's been a lot. So we're recording this. Do we want to date this episode? The recording? Should we?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, June 26th is when we're recording. So
yeah.
I know this comes out on the next Wednesday. So it'll be, I don't know, July 1st or I don't know, somewhere around that. That's when the episode comes out. But we've had Night City Wire for Cyberpunk 2077. We've had pretty much Pokemon have 2 different announcements. We've had the Batman with Michael Keaton Batman. We've had a lot of different things. I don't know if, like we'll start off with like small little snippets that I think are interesting. You mentioned it before recording. You've been going back and watching wrestling stuff.
I think because with everything that's been going on, my mind goes on YouTube and I just want to go to a simpler time in my life, which was 2005 wrestling, which I think at the time I may have been in like 7th or 8th grade. That shows my age.
Bro,
I was in junior high.
I'm 26. I think you're a little bit older than I am. Yeah,
I'm 28.
You're 28, 26. So we're not that far apart. But like when you think of how old you were when all this stuff, it's like that was almost 20 years ago. Yeah, or 20 years ago. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? It started with like, I miss the wrestling theme songs.
Yeah.
And then I would watch like the old SmackDown or Raw intros and like the song would be playing and I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember when like John Cena was fighting JBL at WrestleMania 21 and then that's when John Cena became the champ.
Yeah.
That's what started it all. And I was like, dang, I was really young when that started, and then I started watching like how he made the spinner belt and stuff like that. That was like there for a while.
So wrestling has been a thing for you right now recently, trying to go back to
a simpler time. And then we were talking about it and then you still follow it, but not WWE per se.
So I do on like, I'm not going to say that I like religiously follow it. If it's on, if it's posted somewhere in media, then I'll read it and see what's been caught up. I know that a couple of weeks ago, Rey Mysterio was forced to retire. And and I'll put it. Let me give you some context. My favorite wrestler is Rey Mysterio. Okay. I appreciate and love the Undertaker. I think that wrestler is pretty much like top of the line for me, especially when the bells go boom.
Yeah, I think
and
Undertaker.
You're like, someone's gonna die today.
Undertaker is that wrestler that you just respect and you just love, and that when he comes on, it's going to be great.
Yes. So I loved watching The Undertaker, but Rey Mysterio and the 619, that was like my favorite. He was my favorite one. Yeah. So when they announced his retirement a couple weeks ago, I watched WWE, but my friend Frank, shout out to him. He was the one that introduced me to New Japan a couple years ago. So I kind of watched a little bit of New Japan wrestling, and I'm actually wearing one of the shirts to the recording today. Los Ingobernables. It's from New Japan. I don't know if they're still around today because I haven't really kept up with it more recently. But I went to go watch them when they were at the when they performed at Long Beach in the Pyramid. We went twice, and they got one of these shirts here. So I followed it there, and then when the Elite pretty much split up from New Japan and then created their own network here in the U.S., All Elite Wrestling with TNT, I kind of started watching it a little bit. So I'll occasionally still kind of keep up with it. It's fun. I mean, we're in our late 20s, but what's to say that we don't enjoy some theatrical fighting?
That's another thing. So when growing up, when you watched like wrestling, did you fall into the whole like it's real thing?
So yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes, where I knew that it was faked. Like I know it was faked. I know it was like planned out. But I didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
Kind of like this whole thing where it's like, oh yeah, Santa Claus isn't real, and you're just kind of like, yeah, but I kind of still want to believe it.
You want to believe it, yeah.
And like you don't tell anyone that you still believe it, but you still do internally. So that's the way I see wrestling. It's like, yeah, we know it's planned out, but can you just not just let
us enjoy the smoke and mirrors of it.
Yeah. I'll tell you a little quick story before we move on to some like the actual topics and stuff like that. It's interesting to talk about wrestling. We always say this, that we're like we don't have anything to talk about, and we somehow stretch things out for a lot longer.
Go for it.
But when we went to watch New Japan at Long Beach, I was really excited to see Kenny Omega, and I remember Frank and I were talking before the match, and we were like hyping ourselves up for the match. We're like, dude, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be good. I forget who the match was against. But I remember that Rey Mysterio was making an appearance there, and then he got smacked by a bell and unmasked by the villain. I forget his name, but that was like a heartbreak for me because I saw my hero basically get unmasked, and even still, I was like, no. But anyways, yes, we know it's fake. Yeah. But tell me how you cannot get hyped when Kenny Omega takes a table from under the ring, sets it up, and you know in your heart that the table is going to be used, and so he gets body slammed from the ropes into the table, and you're just like, oh my god. It's like that gif from that the man from WrestleMania 30, the one that's going like when the Undertaker loses. You know what gif I'm talking about? It's like that's the face I made when I watch it. It's oh my god, I even got goosebumps talking about that.
quick little for me too. I actually went to my first and last wrestling event when I live. It was WWE, and this was in 2006, where they had a super show in the Staples Center, which was both Raw and SmackDown at the same night.
Oh, Raw versus SmackDown?
Yeah, Raw versus SmackDown, but it was like the same night, and it was the one that it was also a recording of it as well too, where they're gonna air it on Monday and Friday night at the time. And there was, for the SmackDown one, which was the last event, they had Rey Mysterio versus Chavo Guerrero.
Oh.
And this was the match where it put Rey Mysterio out of commission for a bit. Quotes unquote.
No, don't tell me that, man. It's a heartbreak.
It was the one where basically they're fighting, and then they go into the top of the entrance, and then Rey Mysterio is about to jump off, but his leg gets caught in the stilts or whatever, or the beam, the metal beam. And then Chavo Guerrero just gets a steel chair and smacks it on his leg, right on his femur bone and stuff. Yeah, you could hear it across the stadium. Mind you, I got the cheap seats.
Yeah,
so
it's expensive.
It's expensive to watch freaking wrestling. Sorry, wrestling guys. And sorry, just a little anger came out of me there. And you could hear it. I'm on the top, the ledge, and I'm every wrestler looks like a little rinky-dink figurine, but you could hear it across the stadium. And this is the Staples Center too.
It's all fake.
Yeah, it's all fake.
But then when you see that stuff, you're just like, how is it? Why?
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, the whole slamming into the table by Kenny Omega made me respect him so much as a wrestler, because I don't know how you can fake it. Sure.
Yeah.
Call us and say that we're fake. Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, I
don't care. The fact that he did that from 3 times his normal height and still managed to walk away from god damn, dude. No. And then Rey Mysterio, like I said, he's my favorite wrestler of all time. That dude, if he retires and still somehow isn't a Hall of Famer wrestler, what is wrong with the WWE?
Seriously,
that guy, the 619 is by far the sickest move I've ever seen.
That's the only move. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen any other wrestlers beyond WWE that have done a move like that. Maybe they have, and Rey Mysterio is the one that mainstreamed it, but still, it's still a great move.
Every wrestler will always have some signature move that someone else tries to copy.
Yeah, but
it's always funny because the way I see it is that Rey Mysterio 619 is the one move that some other wrestlers have tried to do. Yeah, and when someone does it, it's like, oh my god, they did Rey Mysterio 619.
That's the thing. Yeah, so he made it his own.
Yeah.
But I feel obviously I think other wrestlers have done it, but I think Rey Mysterio is the one that's either perfected it, and then just basically make it his own.
Yes,
that's his move.
You know what? I would suggest this: if you have the chance, watch some AEW.
I do. Wait, so that's on Spike, or
that's
is that
on TNT?
So is TNA still around?
No, I don't think so.
I used to watch that
TNA.
Too. TNA was good because that was owned by WCW.
Yeah, I'm kind of familiar with that, but I'm going to tell you right now, watch some All Elite Wrestling. Right now, it's a little bit weird because you do have no crowds and stuff like that due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
But it's good enough that you're going to be like, this is kind of like old style wrestling. Because I feel like WWE holds back a little bit now. They don't really want to injure their wrestlers. And I know that they injured Rey Mysterio by gouging his eye out, essentially.
I found out that sorry, we're stuck on this. But I found out actually Vince McMahon has a little kind of contract little thing where it's his wrestlers have to pay for medical expenses.
You know what, man?
I read
Vince
into
McMahon
it.
is weird. You're talking about the dude that basically sold the network to Donald Trump and then bought it back for 2 or 3 times the same price
that's
later.
Right, that whole thing,
You know what? there's a lot of stuff that comes out of Vince McMahon, but I don't know if it's believable or not. That's where you question it, you know?
I will say this. Vince McMahon is a shady guy.
He is.
He looks like a shady guy now. He just looks like a buffer shady dude.
But you know what we can appreciate? I mean, the health of our wrestlers, you know, that's important, but still, the guy is like, you know, but that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we ready?
Okay, yeah, let's move on.
Okay, so before we move on, I think that the way we're going to format this episode, because last week we tried the potpourri, and that was pretty much an okay thing, but we didn't get to the last portions of it. I think we rushed it just because we didn't plan for one of the segments to be as long as it did.
Yeah.
So I think what we're going to do is we're going to each have our own topics. So you're going to talk about one thing that interests you this week that was released, and I'll talk about one thing that interests me that interested me during this week's release.
Yeah.
But before we move on to that, we're going to make a quick little note because this was just breaking news that came out today. And it is a possible either podcast idea that we might have or video.
It might be another topic we'll talk about. We'll get onto it later.
Yes. We just need to wait a little bit more to see exactly what comes out of it. I've been on top of this thing for hours today, essentially. No, it's like it's an issue that's legitimately like, it's scary. It's a scary issue. But what we're talking about is essentially the massive ban waves that have been happening within the Twitch community. This isn't to say, and before I move on, to disrespect anyone that has any serious allegations or anything serious that's related to what's going on. We highly respect anything that's come out of this that is serious. We don't, condemn or condone anyone that's coming out against these sexual allegations or violent mishaps and stuff that have been going on. Even still talking about this, it feels a little bit weird because we do not want to disrespect anyone that's coming out.
Not at all.
So the reason we are waiting a little bit more was because today, June 26th, Dr. Disrespect was suspended / banned / perma-suspended / perma-banned. There's been a lot of things that have been going on from the platform. This came with no warning. Twitch refuses to come out with a statement. Essentially, they've said, you know what, we will not be speaking about this matter within anywhere near the future. We're just gonna stay quiet. As far as I know, and I'll give you the little tidbits here and there, I have been watching some streamers that have played with Doc, specifically Tim the Tatman. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
No,
he's a streamer that he plays. Usually the group of people that Dr. Respect plays his little group. Tim the Tatman, Nick Merckx. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I cannot remember for the life of me. I'm going blank. It's still fresh in my mind. But essentially, I was watching Tim the Tatman stream today, and he essentially kind of cut his stream short just because he didn't feel comfortable. And he said he spoke to Doc, and Doc didn't even know why. He couldn't access his account. So this is stuff that is essentially developing as it goes.
Yeah.
But the reason we're waiting a little bit more is because we're trying to see why exactly he was banned.
Yeah.
And if there is a legitimate reason for his ban, I feel like it is important to discuss the way that Twitch handles things. Like we said at the beginning, any allegation is taken seriously.
Yeah.
I think when someone comes out and says, I was sexually harassed by this individual and this was years ago, even if it's years ago, handle it with respect. Understand that some people can't come out at that time because it is a very difficult thing to say. I'll tell you right now, I have had incidences where I faced stuff like that, and to this day, I still feel like I can't speak out about it. So with all respect to those individuals, if they need to come out and say these things, yes, there's a way of handling it,
yes, there is,
And I think that Twitch hasn't necessarily been extremely responsible with its responses. If the allegations are true, there are two different reasons why Doc was treated or basically banished out of Twitch. One rumor is that it was a DMCA issue. So he probably did something on his stream or one of his videos, and Twitch said, you know what? No. And they suspended him, for whatever reason. The other allegation that's a little more serious, and again, this is, with a grain of salt because we're still seeing what's going on. The allegations of his cheating years ago are coming back up again, and Twitch is now trying to handle some sort of blackmailing issue that's going behind the scenes. And this is, quote, blackmailing because, again, nothing has been legitimate. So they're trying to handle some stuff in the background. And so they're trying to see what they're going to do with Dr. Disrespect and maybe possibly disassociate themselves away from Dr. Disrespect. And this comes after signing a deal with him, a multi-year deal to have Dr. Disrespect exclusively on Twitch. He's also had a massive role with sponsors. He just dropped G Fuel and switched over to the Mountain Dew Gamer Fuel.
Wow.
He's been partnered with Rocat or something like that. It's the brand that does like custom controllers and headsets. Yeah. Rocat or something like that. I can't remember. Turtle Beach is still there. He's built his own, or someone has built his own personal PC. And if I show you I'll show you the specs of his PC. They're phenomenal. And for him to get a PC like that, not that long ago, and then for this to happen, like something must have happened for him to essentially just be gone. Something is up.
Yeah.
But this goes even further, because if now these allegations are coming and they're starting to do these massive ban waves, this isn't a good image for Twitch.
That's what I was going to say. The Twitch has been known to either jump the gun or sometimes there are the reasonings for banning a person, because I follow another person on YouTube. His name's Pay Money Wubby, and he recently, this was like I think maybe 4 or 5 months ago, he got banned from Twitch, but they went as far as deleting his account entirely. He couldn't even get any of the archive footage at all. They completely just, if you searched his name, nothing would come up.
That's what's going on with Doc with Doc today.
And for him, his stream was because it was he showed on his stream, I believe, like something that was either copyrighted or it was something that maybe it was like drawing the line of the community guidelines, but he knew that he was staying within it.
Yeah.
And it took like a month to try to get it back. He was emailing Twitch, and sometimes Twitch would email them and they would never get back to him right away, to the point where he had to get legal issues with it and talk about it with Twitch, and then now he has it back. So,
exactly.
So Twitch does, I'm not going to say, that what they're doing is like, legitimate, but there's sometimes what they do jump the gun at some points, but in certain situations.
It's a very tough topic to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's why I say that we do need to handle this with care.
Yeah.
Because I do want to go a little bit further on that, because you did talk about, someone that you've seen and their struggles on trying to get everything.
Yeah.
I am mostly, I keep up with Doc as much as I can, mainly on YouTube, just because his streams are early morning and usually I'm at work.
Oh, okay.
But I'll usually watch him. But it is I don't want to say it's unfair, but it is.
That's the thing.
I'll say it's inconsistent, because you have Twitch coming out and saying we're going to ban this dude and this dude and this dude because they're violating guidelines, so on and so forth. That's fine. You know what? I think that if someone has had recent allegations of sexual harassment and they're on the platform, sure, why not? You can go ahead and ban them, because I think that someone like that, a scumbag, shouldn't be having something like that.
It should, because you get paid on Twitch.
Exactly.
Easily. People can donate money to you.
Yes.
And so for that, to have a person like that on that platform and just constantly you just see them and they're just making money, and then not without a care in the world of what they did or who they did it to.
Yes. And this goes for both male and female streamers.
Yes.
But it also doesn't make any sense that Twitch is quick to ban these individuals, but then you have individuals that are streamers, that consistently violate terms of services and do things that they shouldn't be doing and get away with it.
They abuse the platform,
yes.
Especially with certain women streamers that I've seen as well too. They will dress provocatively and stuff like that just to earn more money.
And they get away with it.
They get away with it.
Easily.
You're not supposed to do that.
Yes. Full disclosure, I do follow a female streamer by the name of Pokimane.
Okay.
And I followed her mainly because of what she did with UCI in developing a scholarship for STEM students. Essentially, if the students were to participate in an esports team within UCI and are within a STEM major, they have the ability to have like a $25,000 scholarship or something like that.
Okay.
And that's cool, because
really
that's really good, because I do want to see the growth of video gaming being implemented within schools, especially with esports becoming a bigger thing than what it is. You have, it started out with StarCraft, then you have LoL, now Rainbow Six Siege is massive, within the esports community. So it's good to see streamers coming out and saying that this is a legitimate thing. So that's why I followed her. I'm like, you know what, I can appreciate. But she has Ugh. She's have had issues.
Yeah.
More recently, a moderator apparently, quote unquote, went rogue and had sent her a link that was a link to a porn site, which she revealed on stream.
Wow.
Now, if we're going to follow Twitch guidelines, that shouldn't be allowed.
You shouldn't be doing that at all.
And even if it was like 2 seconds of it, why is she not being, punished or reprimanded for her actions?
Yeah.
The biggest name, the biggest criminal, the one that constantly breaks the guidelines, Alinity. I don't know if you've heard of her.
I think so.
Okay. She's had multiple offenses, and she gets away with all of it to the point where, and I'll tell you this quick short story, essentially in her past, actions, she has let her dog get on top of her and, in a sexual manner. She's fed alcohol to her cats. She's thrown her cats violently on stream.
Jeez.
More recently, she has had a nip slip, quote unquote, on stream. And I will say that the video made it seem like she knew what she was doing, because when this nip slip happened, she kind of smirked.
She shrugged it off.
Yeah, like shrugging it off. And then this whole situation happened where she said, you know what, if Twitch doesn't want to do anything, then I will ban myself, and I will force these Twitch mods to ban me, because they weren't going to do it. And so she was, quote, banned for 3 days. But why not have big actions against someone like her?
Yeah.
And, constantly ban other people that have had offenses that are, let's say, and again, we don't know what the offense was for Doc, quote, minor.
Yeah.
So this is a topic that I think we need to let settle for a bit. And I do maybe want to bring it up for next episode. Or maybe make a video in response to it.
We'll make a video, or we'll talk about next episode when we find out what happened exactly, because it just happened.
Yes.
So we'll talk about it next week for sure.
Yeah. So we'll let it simmer.
Yes.
We'll let it simmer.
This is basically what's going on, and this is our initial thoughts at the moment right now until we find out what more development later.
So keep in mind, this episode comes out on Wednesday. We're recording this June 26th. So anywhere between now and the next recording date, things could be different. So if you're listening to this, you can be like, oh, well, this happened. We understand, but we're letting it simmer. We're not going to be breaking news. We're not Keemstar over here,
Oh my God.
So we'll wait and let it simmer. And that way we can give our thoughts on it appropriately.
Yeah.
But for the next, 40-ish minutes, 35 minutes of the podcast, you want to throw just something that impacted you this week. Some news that impacted you, and then I'll throw you mine.
Well, knowing me, and I'm a Batman guy, everyone knows, how much I love Batman. And
you're wearing a Spider-Man shirt today, though.
Spider-Man shirt today. Didn't really have to disclose that, but okay, Brian.
I disclosed that I'm wearing a New Japan Wrestling shirt, so I can legitimately talk about it. You say I'm a Batman guy. Wears the Venom suit Spider-Man.
It's the Batman is my wallpaper. I was going to show you my wallpaper, but I was like, no.
The viewers can't tell.
That's true.
Or listeners, excuse me.
So, if you guys haven't been on the internet, basically the big news right now is that I guess what shocked me the most was that they're still trying to do Flash movie. I thought the news about that movie has been like...
I feel like that's been around since like 2015.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's been a while.
They've been constantly telling us about what's going on in the Flash movie and stuff like that. Oh, it's going to be Flashpoint. Oh, no, director left. Oh, no, actress left. The Iris West character left, or the actress that was supposed to play Iris West.
Wasn't there some issues with the main actor? What's his name?
Ezra Miller?
Ezra Miller?
No, it was the issues with his the character that played his father.
Oh, okay.
You see him in Batman vs. Superman. Or no, it's Justice League. Sorry, it's Justice League. And he was supposed to appear. Yeah, he was supposed to appear in the Flash movie, but then he left because of creative differences.
What is it with DC? Just like they don't.
Yeah,
it's like a curse.
Yeah.
You ever hear about those like Hollywood horror movies that are cursed?
Yeah,
like The Omen and like The Grudge and stuff like that.
There was The Omen, and then there was also
The Exorcist.
And then there was also an Alfred Hitchcock movie that was like Curse or something like that, I think.
Alfred Hitchcock, Birds, that movie.
my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie, really quick, is Rear Window.
I've never seen that one.
Never seen Rear Window?
No.
You've probably seen parodies of it. Have you ever seen like That 70s Show where like Fez breaks his leg and it's like Halloween. He breaks his leg and he's like watching. He's watching what's his name, Bob, over the window.
Yes.
Okay, so that's basically the premise of Rear Window, where it's like a guy breaks his leg and he's watching his. It's like Disturbia.
Okay,
that's where Disturbia took that from.
Yeah. Okay, I've been trying to get my girlfriend to watch Birds, but she like it's she's never seen it. But it's I grew up on Birds, but it never terrified me.
No,
I just think that it was interesting. Anyways, we sidetracked.
Oh my gosh,
The
Flash. Cursed movie. But yeah, it seems like basically whenever I thought this movie was basically done or they weren't going to make it for a while, but still Ezra Miller's attached to it, which I'm shocked. I give props to Ezra Miller to stick around to try to put this movie out. But basically they
stayed longer than Ben Affleck.
Yeah. Oh god.
Rip.
Rip, man. Seriously.
Oh my god.
Bat flick, man. That was my golden
insert
Batman.
gif of Batman. Ben Affleck. Sad
Batman. Yeah, sad. You have to do that now. Right now at this moment, just him staring.
That means okay, so it's a 30-minute mark. We'll just remember that.
Okay. So then basically they announced that Micheal Keaton is in the talks, or it's confirmed that it seems like it's very strong confirmed that Micheal Keaton is coming back to be Batman.
That news came out weird because they said that Micheal Keaton in talks to appear in the Flash movie.
Yes.
And that's how it was reported first.
That's how it was reported. But now I've seen articles today that they'll repost it and they'll be like, oh, it is confirmed that he will be Batman again. So everyone's excited for it. Don't get me wrong. You were the first one that actually I saw that you said possible Batman Beyond movie.
Oh no!
And I was like,
no!
And I'm thinking in my head, I'm just like, and I'm like, sorry, Brian, but I'm like, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Okay, so can I defend myself real quick?
Go ahead.
So I think last week's episode we talked about how possibly Robert Pattinson's Batman portrayal is going to be Terry McGinnis as a Batman Beyond, right? Mm-hmm. Look, I just want to speak it into existence, okay? Just let me believe.
Bring it.
But I think I posted the IGN photo art or the photo thing that they do on Facebook where they said that Micheal Keaton might reprise his role as Batman in the Flash movie. And I said, oh, possible Batman Beyond movie. Mm-hmm. My initial thought is that because Micheal Keaton is the dude, no disrespect to him, but he is older.
So yes, from 1989.
Yeah. So...
I mean, some time has passed.
Look, I don't want to be told. Look, I understand. I'm 26, but some people are like, dude, you're old already. I'm like, oh my God, man. Look, I have chest pains, my knees crack. I'm not even at the prime of my life yet.
I know. We're not even in our 30s, and yet we're still being told that we're old.
That's why I'm telling you, Micheal Keaton is a phenomenal actor. I love him. He was the Vulture in the Spider-Man movie. Perfect.
The past 3 years have been really good for him. That's the thing. The Founder was a great film. Birdman was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, him in Homecoming, was great. So
he's had great stuff.
Yeah.
But when I look at him and I saw the article and they said, oh, he's going to reprise his role, quote, reprise his role as Batman. Mm-hmm. My initial thought was old Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
So where is the only iteration where we've seen an old Bruce Wayne? We've seen him in Kingdom Come.
Yes.
And we've also seen him in Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, yeah.
The thing about it, and the reason I thought about a Batman Beyond portrayal of old Bruce Wayne was because he has the stature and look to an old Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Micheal Keaton Batman was a good Batman. I'm not going to say that he was too bad. He wasn't Bat Nipples. He wasn't Bat Nipples. That was George Clooney, right?
That was George Clooney.
That was George Clooney.
No, I mean Val Kilmer. Yeah.
Val Kilmer. Okay, so he wasn't the Val Kilmer Batman.
Which, really quick, Joel Schumacher passed away.
Oh my!
That was another
2020,
thing.
man.
It's taking a lot of people.
2020. Like, Jesus, relax for a second.
But moving, sorry.
No, it's all good. We needed to mention that if we're going to mention Val Kilmer. Mm-hmm. But, he was I liked his Batman. Because my philosophy with all the Batman thing is that you either have a really good Batman or a really good Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. So when I think of Christian Bale, I think of him as a really good. What was it? He was a really good.
I think
Bruce Wayne.
He was a good Bruce Wayne because he knows how to play that
the suave playboy
because he did that for a bit in American Psycho.
Yes,
and and Patrick Bateman was a good character that he played. So I think going into the Dark Knight or the Batman Begins franchise. it wasn't really hard for him to play that, get the same role of like a billionaire yuppie and stuff like that.
Yeah. So good Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Not a good Batman.
No,
Ben Affleck. Yeah. Better Batman. Not a good Bruce Wayne, but he did it all right.
He did it pretty good where he had some charming moments.
Yes.
I like the whole when he was I love the interaction between him and Alfred.
Yes.
The Jeremy Irons.
Yes.
Yeah. Or is it Jeremy Irons? Yeah, it's Jeremy Irons.
Now, Micheal Keaton.
So, I actually rewatched the Batman movies, Batman and Batman Returns. He played a good Batman. Mm-hmm. A little kind of wonky Bruce Wayne at first in the first movie.
But keep in mind, he was playing a younger version of it, like an experienced Batman, but not like not an old Batman, but not a young Batman. He was an experienced Batman.
I think he was like well into like the few years of being Batman at the moment.
So now picture this: Micheal Keaton, old Bruce Wayne.
I think that would be better.
Because now he's more experienced acting-wise, and I think that he can channel that in. I don't think that he can play a Batman anymore. I think he can play an old Bruce Wayne
that's been through a lot.
And that could possibly be an introduction to a Batman Beyond.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you this, because when I posted that, Rebel, shout out to you for the second time, because we told us you listened to us, and we appreciate you listening to us.
Thank you for listening to us.
You get a second shout out in this one. Yeah. He commented on it, and he's like, I will always consider Kevin Conroy to be the definitive old Batman. And I didn't know, because he said that he played old Bruce Wayne in the Arrowverse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that
in
too.
the Arrowverse.
Yeah, he did.
And this was a Kingdom Come version of it. But I'm like, I've never seen Kevin Conroy perform live, so I don't know if it would be
that. So I have my thoughts on that. I actually watched that episode with Kevin Conroy in the Kingdom Come thing. I have my thoughts on the whole Arrowverse thing. It's okay. I like it.
I gave up after what's his name? Stephen Amell's, or the Green Arrow. What's his name?
Stephen Amell.
No, but what's the Green Arrow? What's his name?
Oliver.
Wow, I forgot. This is how long I have not seen it, and I kept up with it. When
Queen,
he leaves with Felicity.
Oh yeah,
in the car. That was that was the last part. I was like, I can't do it anymore.
That relationship was just all around weird and toxic.
I liked it, but afterwards when I heard that it went south, I'm just like, you know what?
It was because the writers don't know. I'm sorry, but the writers don't know how to write women, because they always write women where it's like they're kind of like being very thick-headed and you don't like them.
Stubborn,
yes. They're very stubborn, and that's really bad, because they did that with Flash with Iris season 1. She was very stubborn the whole time. They did that with Felicity in like season 2 or 3, I think,
when she didn't want to be just the IT.
And I was like, come on, guys, like
they can do better. They can do better.
I wasn't mad at the characters. I was just mad at the writers. I was like, come on.
This isn't to say that we're mad at the actresses. No. We're mad at the writing direction. There's a difference.
It's very, I don't know what they do over there in CW and stuff, but you guys need to learn. So going back onto the whole thing, so when they did that whole like Crisis on Infinite Earths and stuff, they were hyping it up. They were like, actors are coming in and play their characters or reprising their roles. Biggest one, Kevin Conroy is going to play his first live action rendition.
What did you think of it?
It wasn't good.
Are you serious?
I didn't like it. I didn't like the direction that they went.
Okay,
with
so
it.
the overall episode. Okay, no, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, no, he was
that's
fine.
What I'm asking.
But they made him to the point where it was basically like, oh yeah, like it was the Final Crisis Batman, basically, of like.
Was it Kingdom Come?
It was the Kingdom Come Batman, where he goes crazy and stuff and kills everyone.
So let me ask you this before we move on. Who is your definitive Batman?
It would be Kevin Conroy.
Okay, so you and I are in the same boat.
Yes, my definitive Batman will always be Kevin Conroy, because he is the only one that I hear when I read a Batman comic book.
Oh my God! So I've always been quiet about my love for Batman, because I feel that after the who directed the Batman Begins and
Christopher Nolan.
After the Christopher Nolan run of Batman, I felt like the new wave of Batman fans just portrayed Batman as that Batman.
No, that I've seen. Like I would confidently say that maybe 30% of the Batman fans came from the
Christian Nolan or the Christopher Nolan version, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that because that franchise is phenomenal. It's really good.
Those are great movies.
Yeah, but most people would say like, oh, so Christian Bale isn't your definitive Batman? Oh my God, what's wrong with you? No, because I grew up on the animated series.
Yeah.
So Kevin Conroy's voice is like fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to this about my girlfriend because I asked her, I'm like, well, who's your Batman? She's like, oh, Christian Bale, because that's how she recognizes Batman.
Yeah. That's fair.
She watched those.
Yeah.
And I asked her, I'm like, well, who's your Joker? Oh man, I'm going blank today. Christopher Nolan's Joker.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger, thank you.
Yeah.
That's who that's who she thinks is a good Joker. Right now for me it's Joaquin Phoenix. But Mark Hamill will always be one of the greatest Jokers.
Yes.
And I know this is animated, but his voice is just so great. And you have to have iconic pieces of a superhero to get the voice exactly. So for the Joker, for example, Mark Hamill knows how to do a laugh that's cynical and uncomforting.
Yes.
Jared Leto, not great laugh. It's not a great laugh. It was terrible. Heath Ledger, he was just crazy, but I don't think he had the best laugh, but he was a very enjoyable Joker to watch.
His laugh was just more line of like, oh wow, yeah, like kind of creepy, but not unsettling.
Yeah.
Or even to the point where it was like very impactful.
Yes.
With the way that Mark Hamill did it.
Yes. Joaquin Phoenix, not unsettling per se, but very uncomfortable. And that's why I think that I don't want to, but I think he takes the spot for me over Mark Hamill. Just because when I think of the Joker, especially, when he tries to figure himself out, that's the kind of laugh I want to hear. That's the uncomforting one where you don't want to idolize the Joker because he's insane. There is something wrong with him.
Yeah.
So when I think of a Batman voice, I always picture Batman to speak to you in a very calm manner.
Yeah.
But then you say something back and he'll just go, yeah. And then respond with something else. There's always a pause with a glare. And Kevin Conroy always knew how to do that with his voice. No one else that I've seen besides Ben Affleck, I guess, in a way, has really captivated that for me. So that's why I think that Kevin Conroy is a better Batman. I think that Micheal Keaton can do that as old Bruce Wayne.
I think he has basically learned and also evolved. He could do that now as a character, changing the dynamic of how he is from how he was in the original Tim Burton Batman movies to how he could be as an older Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
But that's another thing too, is that really quick to end it, to quickly move on, but also to end
I want to hear your thoughts on this. We're not going to move on until I hear what your predictions are, because I predicted Batman Beyond. I want to know what you think about this.
I think this is going to be still the Tim Burton Batman.
Okay.
But because it's in a Flash movie. Now, it could be a Batman Beyond as well, too, where it's because Flash can either time travel in this movie or he can go into a different reality.
Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the rumor?
That was the rumor that it could be Flashpoint and stuff like that. Or I don't know. They scrapped that now. Or they could be going back into the...
It's Warner Brothers. They say everything.
WB is very inconsistent when it comes to finalizing on their movies.
I love them, but my God, are they so inconsistent. I actually went to the tour.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It was a fun tour. I actually got to flip the bag signal.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so great.
I got to do that one soon, or when they open up again.
For the price, it's really good.
Okay.
They take you, depending on who your tour guide is. I forget what my tour guide's name was, but when we went, it was because they were doing a Gilmore Girls kind of themed Christmas thing.
Okay.
So I took my girlfriend there, but the tour guide was like, yeah, we can stop by where they have like all the Batmobiles. So we saw the Tumbler. We saw the long Batmobile. I think that was from like the Tim Burton Batman. I'm not so sure. But I was like dumbfounded. And the tour guide was like, so you're the only person that's legitimately like had star eyes the whole time in here. Do you want to do something? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, come here. You want to be Jim Gordon? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, flip the switch. Are you kidding me? He's like, yeah, flip the switch. This is the spotlight that we've actually used to like, for the Christopher Nolan version. So I flipped it, and it's one of the best things ever, where you flip the bat switch and you call for the Batman.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really good for the price, I would say. But anyway, sidetracked again.
Sorry, no, but like I think in this movie it will be his same role and the Tim Burton ones, but obviously just older and stuff like that. I have a feeling that we might have basically Flash going into different realities You know,
but to get a name like Micheal Keaton and only to have him as a certain point, like think about it. If you have Micheal Keaton, you don't want to waste him for 15 minutes. You want to have him in there.
That's another thing too, is that, you know, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's more of a cash grab for people to get excited about the Flash movie because it's been so long since its news has been happening. I feel like people are no longer kind of interested anymore. And I think WB, knowing how WB is, I think this is their way of bringing fans in again to get excited for the Flash movie that still has yet to be filmed. You know,
do you feel like Warner Brothers doesn't know what they're doing still? Because I can argue the latter and say yes, I feel like Warner Brothers is understanding the fan base a little bit more.
I will have to see how Wonder Woman to answer that. I have to watch Wonder Woman 1984 and the Batman movie, because if you ask me that now, I will say no.
You feel like they're still very ignorant of their fans.
They're still ignorant, but I haven't seen Wonder Woman 1984 or the new Batman movie, because those are the next DC movies coming out. Because knowing how Birds of Prey came out, you know,
Birds of Prey wasn't bad.
I didn't like it because it was basically, again, I was kind of like, it was another cash grab to bring in Harley Quinn and stuff like that.
But Margot Robbie is a good Harley Quinn.
She's a good Harley Quinn, but I feel like she didn't need to be part of Birds of Prey. You could have done Birds of Prey. Like, see, I get jaded when it comes to stuff like that, because that could have been a great way to bring in Barbara Gordon, Batgirl as well too.
That could have been.
Yeah, and you know, still kind of like those characters. It wasn't necessarily Birds of Prey movie. It was a Harley Quinn movie, because the Birds of Prey characters kind of got like.
Well, it is. What is it called? Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn.
The Emancipation of Harley Quinn. Or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a Harley Quinn movie. It's kind of tough, because I feel like Warner Brothers is a little bit understanding of what the fans want ever since they just ruined Justice League. Yeah. Do you really think that Warner Brothers would spend so much money trying to get the Snyder cut of Justice League if they were just trying to go for a cash grab? They're spending millions of dollars on it.
I know, they're
for a service.
It's in post production right now too, because they said the Snyder cut, you know, it was like done or uncredited and stuff, but now it says on the IMDb in post production right now.
Okay, so they're almost done with it.
So they're basically like making it look pretty, adding all the special effects and stuff like that, getting all the scenes together that they basically archived and stuff like that.
This is a 2021 movie, right?
Yeah, this is coming out in September.
Of 2020?
Yeah, 2021. Oh, no.
No. Are you kidding me? We have to wait another year for the Snyder Cut?
No, it's coming out in September, I think.
September 2020.
Yeah.
I would be down to figure out when the release date is, because I still have to watch it. I haven't seen the Justice League movie. No. So I would be down to maybe having a video discussion of this, like what we think of Justice League.
Or maybe you should watch just the Snyder Cut and just see how that is.
No, because
that would be a very interesting perspective if you've never seen the original.
But then you're asking me to essentially go back and watch a crappier version.
That's true, but we don't know if this one is even going to be good. There's so many factors.
There's a lot of stuff, and that's the stuff that kind of gets complicated, because when you think about a director's cut of this. Yeah. You're using footage that already exists. So how can you make footage that exists that came out to be a crappy movie and make it a better one? That's like saying I'm going to boost up my D with extra credit to get it to a C. You can only do so much.
Yeah, and that's why I laugh at the people that think that this is going to be like a totally different movie when it comes out.
Yes, because I don't think it will.
I don't think it's going to change per se. I think it's going to be a much smoother movie, because I've seen the director's ultimate edition of the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice.
Martha.
Granted, the movie still runs the same way, but excuse me. But it runs in a smoother motion. It's a 3-hour movie though.
Nope.
And you should watch that, bud. I have it too.
Look, man. Oh my god.
So it basically enters all those like essential plot holes where it's like, how did Lex Luthor know that Bruce Wayne was Batman or something like that? Or no, it was like, why was Batman basically what was it? Branding people, remember? He was branding people and they would get murdered.
Yes.
And stuff. So that answered. So basically, they answered that in the Ultimate Edition, where basically he would just brand people, put them in jail. He wouldn't do anything about it. But Lex Luthor would hire people in jail to specifically kill the Bat-branded criminals.
So it was like a collaboration.
It was a collaboration.
That is such a weird thing.
Yeah, and then also there was another one where there was another plot hole that they basically answered as well too. But I forgot, honestly. But that was one of the bigger ones. And then also you find out that basically Lex Luthor hired the people in the beginning of the movie to burn everyone in the village and stuff to make it look like Superman did it and stuff, which they never explained in the original.
Oh my God.
So it's like,
Batman versus Superman just feels like a comic book that was just overloaded with a bunch of plot points and they couldn't figure out how to squeeze it into 2 hours.
I still enjoy the movie for what it is. The Ultimate Edition, like I said, it's 3 hours and 2 minutes, basically how Watchmen was and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
When you watch the director's cut of
Watchmen.
Okay, I feel like you just don't like Zack Snyder's films at all.
I don't. I'll be honest, I don't. I feel like he's just kind of like
a little kid director.
You know what? Like
in the
James
studios.
Cameron.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way: James Cameron was a good director back then. I think that he's kind of overrated now.
No, I completely agree.
Okay,
with
so
you.
let's let I think of Zack Snyder. I think that Zack Snyder's. Like,
I completely hate Avatar.
Right.
I think it's like
overrated. Yeah,
people were hyping that up. I don't believe that the second movie is going to be good because he had to wait till technology was to come up to
James
make his
Cameron.
James Cameron. Yes, seriously.
So,
get over yourself.
And this is where they cancel us because I came out and said James Cameron is overrated. And they're like, excuse me?
He is. Granted, I love his movies back in the 90s and 80s. Don't get me wrong. Those were
like
good.
I said, they're enjoyable back then.
Yes.
They can appreciate
certain directors could lose their vibe.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, we're gonna get canceled after that.
Right,
so to end it,
I believe that it's not gonna be as a big moment as we think because that happened in the Crisis on Earth's thing. They were hyping actors coming back. Tom Welling only had maybe 2 minutes inside of one episode of that whole thing.
Okay.
And so I feel like this is going to be the same thing.
I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to stick with it. Bruce Wayne for a Batman Beyond-ish introduction. I'm going to speak it into existence, damn it.
I'm basically speaking as a person that's been abused. It's
so
done.
like me and Square Enix.
Yes.
Me and Square Enix with Kingdom Hearts. We're going to we'll release it. Or me and Cyberpunk 2077. It'll come out, guys. Don't worry. But years and years and years and years later. So final synopsis. I think it's not going to be as great as we think it is. You think it's going to lead into something new, into a new direction of DC films. Flashpoint with old Bruce Wayne as in the kind of Batman Beyond setup, and let me believe that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So. It's kind of funny. We always say that we don't have.
I think it's just DC movies when you get us on DC.
It's because it's an interest. I think that we don't know how much we know until we actually start to speak about it. But these episodes, we always have to plan out like what we discuss because we don't want to have a dead episode within 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think
so it's always good.
Yeah, that's the one thing we're afraid of is that we're gonna sit here with
yes.
Well, what should we talk about?
Yeah, exactly. And be like, oh, well, I don't know what to say. And
that's
all this
the
other
worst
stuff.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on. We've got about maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
We can go, a little over 10 minutes.
The topic that I wanted to bring to your attention, you a fan of Pokemon at all?
I do enjoy Pokemon. As a kid, I always loved Pokemon. I play Pokemon Go. I don't play the newer games because honestly, all the new Pokemon look the same to me.
You feel like it's a little bit stale.
It's a little stale, but I still follow what's going on for the Pokemon world, though.
Let me ask you, what was the last generation you played?
Oh, man. I think it was the last game I played.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. I mean, I did play X and Y.
So you were, I think, Unova.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were Unova, where it was based in a French version of Pokemon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you weren't that far behind.
No.
I think you played it more recently because you went through the black and white generation into the XY generation, which was the 3D models on the 3DS. That's fine. Okay, so the reason I bring up Pokemon was because over the last week, Pokemon has had two different announcements, one on the June 17th and one on June 24th. Usually when Pokemon makes these announcements, they're big deals because we're anticipating either a new generation, a newer game, something massive. And as a fan who has consistently played every generation, I think the only one I skipped was Black and White 2, and that was because I was an idiot. I should have bought it because apparently it's a really good one. I've played every iteration from, Red and Blue to the more recent Sword and Shield.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna buy the expansion that just came out this week. I beat
There's
it.
An expansion?
Yeah, they're doing DLCs for Pokemon.
Wow,
which is good because I feel like Sword and Shield, in my opinion, was a little bit stale.
I feel like DLCs for Pokemon would be necessary because you can burn through a whole Pokemon game.
I went through it 25 hours, and that was kind of like speed running it a little bit.
Yeah.
But kind of taking my time. So it was like a little in between. So I beat the game in 25 hours.
Yeah.
But the June 17th announcement, there were several different things. I think they announced some stuff for Pokemon Go. They announced Pokemon Cafe. I'm not really familiar with that one. I didn't really care. It's something that they're doing with like the franchise in their phones. They announced a life kind of simulator, which was Pokemon Smile or Pokemon Brush, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
It's an app that essentially goes with kids so they can brush their teeth. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like a fun little thing that kids can use.
Little interactive
thing to help kids, remind to brush their teeth because, 5-year-olds sometimes don't want to brush their teeth.
That's true.
And then the big announcement was Pokemon Snap. Okay. And I don't know if you played the original N64 version of Pokemon.
I love Pokemon Snap.
It was one of those games that was like, why are you on rails taking photos of Pokemon, but you can consistently replay it? And I remember playing through the whole thing and getting to Mew and then taking the photos of Mew. You remember that part? Yeah, that was always interesting to me. So I'm glad that it came back. But the reason I want to talk about it is because of the June 24th announcement. Did you pay attention at all to what happened?
No, but go ahead and...
Okay, so what ended up happening for the listeners that aren't really familiar with what happened? June 17th was the announcement of Pokemon Snap. June 24th, June 17th, about June 18th, June 19th, they made another announcement, said, hey guys, on the 24th, we're going to make another announcement just like this one. It's going to be big. And a lot of Pokemon fans were essentially saying, this is the remake that we've been waiting for. We've got the Kanto remake. We've got the Johto remake. It's Hoenn. Oh, no, we have the Hoenn remake with Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. This is going to be the Sinnoh remake. We're going to get Diamond and Pearl. We're going to get that remade. Ooh. Diamond and Pearl, I've always had a love-hate relationship for that one. I think I have over 100 hours spent on that Pokemon game to the point where the cartridge battery was dying. Ooh. And I've almost 100% of the Pokedex. That's the only game that I have. But the cartridge basically is dead. So for them to anticipate, yeah, this is a Diamond Pearl remake. I was hyped for it.
Especially when you say a big announcement.
Yes, a big announcement. That's what you expect.
Yeah.
Either Diamond and Pearl remake or the next generation of Pokemon.
That's a big stretch because they just put out, was it Shield and Sword?
Sword and Shield,
like that. So, I mean, yes, they could announce it, but that means that wouldn't come out until maybe next year or something.
Fans have been asking for a massive open world Pokemon game that allows you to travel to every region. I'll tell you right now, I can name every region that has existed off the top of my head. Like, I love Pokemon to the point where I can name every region. This is a pointless and useless piece of information in my brain, but I still have it. So we anticipate something big. But what ended up coming out on June 24th was a collaboration with the company Tencent to create a new Pokemon game called Pokemon Unite, which is a MOBA. And if you know what a MOBA is, it plays like LOL, League of Legends.
Yeah.
Tell me, why does the Pokemon company think that Pokemon fans want a League of Legends style game?
That's another thing. It's like, how does that sound appealing? Like, you're especially for Pokemon. It's weird because for Pokemon, we're used to doing the whole one-on-one battle kind of thing. You know, you do the structure battle, put in your Pokemon. You have 3 or 4 Pokemon to choose from your whole library of Pokemon that you have, and then to have it to where it's like a League of Legends arena battle.
I don't know if you're familiar with the different Pokemon games that have come out. So I don't know. Do you remember Mystery Dungeon?
No.
Okay. So Pokemon is a little bit weird because if you're a fan, you'll play the mainline games.
Yeah.
If you're a little bit more of a hardcore fan, you'll start to diverge out into the different scenarios. So I'm in that ladder where I'll play I've played Mystery Dungeon, and that's a game where the Pokemon trainers get turned into Pokemon. This is a long time ago. I haven't played it in a long time.
I think I've heard of that.
And so it's like a dungeon crawler kind of thing. And then they've released different Pokemon games that play I know there's one that plays like a Final Fantasy Tactics Advance kind of style of gameplay. They've had, they recently started coming out on mobile. So you have Pokemon Rumble. You have that new Pokemon Masters game, which is kind of like a trainer. You get like a trainer card and like the Pokemon that is associated with them. And it's a 3v3 real-time battle kind of scenario. Like there's all these different things that have come out. So there's a wide variety of, gameplay mechanics that players can get into and try to play Pokemon with. Pokemon Go, for example. You play Pokemon Go. Yeah. So it's a super simple concept. There's no battling Pokemon. You just go out and catch Pokemon in the real world. And that's it. There's nothing wrong with that because I've invested a lot of time, not as much money, hopefully not, into the game. But, you still...
I'm like thinking of how much money have I invested in Pokemon
I use my Google Play money, my survey stuff.
That's
how I do it. I don't really... I think so
it's not really money that I'm putting
I think the most I've spent is maybe $20 in total in the years it's been out.
I think I'm a little bit more. I think I've done like $40 of my money into Pokemon.
It's a free game, so whatever. We're going to dump some money. But I played Pokemon Go in its beta.
Yeah.
So that's how much I, play it and, can understand the concepts of it. But even as a hardcore fan, I have never thought of it needing a MOBA. What does a MOBA stand for? It's multiplayer, massive online battle arena or something like that.
If you guys are not familiar how that format is, it's basically you're looking at it through a top kind of angle above, like a sky angle that you're seeing, and you're looking at all your characters on the ground and stuff like that. So you're not really seeing, like a character moving around at a normal game. No, this is a different angle where it's just like you're seeing like a map.
Yes.
And you're
3 lanes.
Yeah. And you're moving the characters however you want to some area of said map.
It's a tug of war style gameplay, depending on how it is. I think that's how I haven't played League of Legends forever, and thank God I haven't. But
I never played it.
Yeah, don't please.
I mean, I did like the cinematics they would come out for it. Yeah. Like those are fun, but no.
No, it does not. Look, no offense to the people that play LOL, but that's not the type of game for me. That's all I'm going to say. But there is no reason for Pokemon to be invested in something like that.
No, I feel like
why?
It doesn't need to go to that type of gameplay, or doesn't need to, because I don't know, it seems very off.
It's a weird thing, but there's a bigger issue, and this is just kind of like a small little thing that I have with it, because I know we're running out of time, but Tencent is they're partnering up with Tencent. And if you're not familiar with Tencent, they're a Chinese corporation, not located in China, but it is a Chinese corporation. I think they're more of like a funding company. They like to just buy off companies and give them money and let them do, what they need to do to kind of just expand their gameplay. I know that they own 100% of Riot Games. They have their feet dipped into a bunch of other stuff. They're one of the main companies that essentially is trying to bring some video games from outside of China into China, and they're trying to make sure that they censor it enough to appeal to certain Chinese laws. So the fact that they're partnering up with Tencent and then making this MOBA style gameplay, it feels like it's a Chinese game that they're trying to appeal to the American or even worldwide, market that nobody asked for here. China plays a lot of MOBA. That's their kind of style of gameplay. We understand that. But for them to then say, oh yeah, you guys want this, it doesn't make any sense.
No, yeah.
And it goes to show that Tencent, I feel, and I've had my issues with Tencent. I think that this is another topic we probably need to discuss in future episodes.
Obviously.
I've had my frustrations with Chinese censorship in video games. I think we've mentioned this. I think we've talked about this in private. Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
It's trying to get into the Chinese market. I don't know if you're familiar with that. How they try to censor blood, death, and
really?
Oh, you didn't hear about this?
No, I haven't. Because like my PS4 has been out of commission, so I'm out of the Rainbow game for a bit.
There's this there was this article that came out a couple months ago. I think this was last year. They try to integrate Rainbow Six Siege into the Chinese market, but in order for them to do that, they needed to censor out the blood, the death of operators, and there is a map that's a biker club that has a strip club in there. They wanted to censor the slot machines and the on girls that are stripping there.
Wow.
So they wanted to censor all that stuff. And they said, well, in order for us to kind of get into that market, we're just going to completely redo the whole map. We're not redo the whole map, but censor the map for even the American audiences. And the American audience was kind of like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
This is, we don't mind this. This doesn't mean anything to us. So you're just trying to do this to appeal to a Chinese.
It's not a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always that argument. And that's the frustration that I have with Pokemon Unite.
Yeah.
Is that, why are you taking a brand like Pokemon? Like, I understand if you're trying to appeal to the Chinese market, by all means, go for it. I don't think, I've never had an issue with Chinese specific video games not being, released out here.
Yeah.
I've had an issue with Japanese games not being released in the US.
Yes.
And that's because I don't like this whole aspect of like, oh yeah, Japanese games, Americans can't play it. F you, man. I can play any game I want. You tell me, because it's too complicated, I'll play the hell out of it. Yeah, no matter. But Chinese games specifically made for that, when they're not released here, I've always had an issue with. Chinese games not being released here, I don't have an issue with, is what I meant to say.
Okay.
But we're going to have to wait and see. It did not get good reception.
Okay.
I think people, from what I've seen, people hated the announcement.
Yeah.
It sucked. You have any thoughts on it at all?
No, it's just, to me, it's just weird. Like, I know that Pokemon always wants to reach out to any sort of format to get as many people into it as they can, and that's good. You want to expand, but at the same time, you got to know your fan base. And I feel like this is really, like, they did this, and this announcement shows that for this moment, they are kind of out of sync with their fan base, and it shows a lot.
There's too much saturation of... It's oversaturated at this point. Yeah. So let's see what happens with Pokemon. Who knows? I mean, I'm hoping... I don't think this is going to be good PR for them, but the future of Pokemon, it's not looking good, in my opinion. All right. Good. Well, I think this is a good episode.
This is a good episode.
A little rushed at the end, but I feel it was good.
We started this episode kind of like, oh man, like, what are we going to talk about?
But and we ended up doing a really good job.
I think we just need to just have more confidence in ourselves.
We don't know how much we know. And I think, look, for the listeners that are tuning in, we appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to us. Like we've said before, if there's anything you guys want to hear us talk about, just put it down in the comments below. Let us know. Email us, tweet us, comment on the Instagram photos. There's, we want to hear the feedback. We're kind of getting used to this. I think I've been podcasting for about 3 months because I'm doing my own stuff, and I've done projects like this before. I think you've been podcasting as well.
I mean, I've been podcasting as well during this whole thing, the whole like pandemic, but at the same time, doing my own podcast. This is me coming back, I think, after a year and a half or so, or maybe a little longer than a year since my last podcast I was doing and stuff. But I'm glad to be coming back and getting back into the swing of things and stuff. We're slowly knowing how our niche is and knowing what we can talk about, what we want to talk about and stuff. So, but yeah, and also, we're doing more than just talking here. We're making videos and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that's what I really like about, what we're doing here is that we're trying to expand, and it's actually working out.
It's good. Yeah. We've been friends for a really long time.
Yeah.
I think that exists right there. I think we're good with conversations, but what we need to work on, and I think our listeners can agree, is having more confidence in knowing what we know.
I know.
Oh, well, we can't talk about Micheal Keaton Batman for 30 minutes, and here we are talking about Micheal Keaton for 30 minutes.
35 minutes, I think.
It's good stuff. All right. So with that said, just to wrap it up, as usual, in the description below, you'll have links to our Twitter and Instagram. Follow us on there to just keep up to date when new episodes come out. If you are listening to this on YouTube, there's also a link to the Podbean and Spotify.
Yes.
Renee, I can't thank you enough for putting it on Spotify because we've had requests for it. Yes.
I'm so happy we're on Spotify.
So
it's an easier outreach for people that I know.
There's been people on Podbean too.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, we've had I think on Podbean we've had over 30 plays now.
That's good. That's good. So
which is good.
So if you're listening to this on YouTube, go ahead and follow the link to the Podbean site and the Spotify site. Give us a follow there so that way you have easy access to listen to this if you're on the road. If you are on Podbean or Spotify and, want to listen to us on YouTube and, follow our videos as well that we're going to be working on, head on over to the YouTube site and subscribe to us there. Let us know exactly what you guys think. Leave a like on the videos. You'll see more podcasts than videos just because their schedule is a little bit weird, but we're trying to work on videos and getting more content out there. So just let us know. Our socials will be down there below as well, so if you guys want to follow us there, feel free to do so as well.
Obviously.
Yes. And with that said, the moment of truth, Renee, we are 2 for 2 on openings. Can we make it 2 for 2 in closing?
Let's do it.
Go for it.
Thank you, citizens, for listening to this issue of Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour. I am your super host, Rene.
And sidekick co-host or main co-host for today, Bryan.
Coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, recording at Undercity Comics. We thank you, citizens, once again, and hope to see you in the next issue.